This episode of iFanboy is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. Head over to GoDaddy to get your own piece of the internet. And by Netflix.com. Movies. Yay, movies.
Connor, they don't have to be in order.
Yes, they do.
Don't.
Yes, they do.
It's
They do.
fine. What is
One's
it?
over here.
This is a lot of comics.
And there's 52 over there. Hey, welcome to iFanboy, the video podcast from the comic discussion site iFanboy.com. I am Josh, and I'm here with Ron. There he is. And Connor.
Hello,
I
and
don't know why I did that.
You did the double shooter.
It came to me, yeah.
Double shooter's fine, dude.
you're hip and cool. That's
I
why.
am.
So this week we're gonna do a little overview on 52, the big series from DC Comics last year.
It just ended. We took a little breather to get a little perspective, but
Take a step back,
yeah.
collected our thoughts on it, and here we go. For those of you who don't know, 52 is in 2006 DC had a miniseries called Infinite Crisis, and it was the big universe spanning. People die, worlds collide.
the big event.
Yeah, well, they took all the multiple Earths in DC and they merged them into one super Earth, and that was
Well, there was an attempt to do that.
right. Well,
yeah.
that was the whole point of the miniseries.
Clearly it's confusing.
Yeah.
And then 1 week after that ended in May came 52, which was the ambitiously announced weekly series. And there hasn't really been a successful weekly series in a long time.
In years. I mean, there used to
2000
be.
AD.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, from the big two American comic book companies, there hasn't been a successful weekly series in forever.
It's a shout out to the UK there. Because
This-
they're always like, you don't talk about it.
That's true. We should acknowledge that. This series had the distinction of taking 4 of DC's biggest writers. And
Comics biggest writers, really.
Pretty much
Yeah.
in Greg Rucka, Jeff Johns, Grant Morrison, and
Mark Waid.
Mark Waid.
The other way.
Yeah.
Ringo.
Ringo.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
No.
Just sat back here doing this. And with covers by J.G. Jones and art breakdowns by Keith Giffen, and these 6 guys basically through the whole year, with of course editorial other people on the team, but those 6 guys basically through the whole time pumped out a weekly book.
They jammed. They did it. And when they announced this, when they announced the plans for 52.
We were like, no.
Oh, I did.
way.
I out and out mocked. I was waiting. I said, "Ooh, this has got disaster written all over it." I
Yeah.
couldn't wait for because with a weekly book, every Wednesday you got to have another issue out. And the way comics have gone over the past 10 years, there was no way that was happening. And
I think we predicted 16 weeks in.
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah, we
around
guessed,
there.
yeah.
And we said one of the big things when you announce a weekly book is you have to have it out.
Yeah.
Once you fail, you're going to be internet fodder for years.
And they took that very seriously.
And I'll be the first to give them credit. They nailed it. Look, we have all 52 issues in front of us here. And
They didn't miss one
didn't-
deadline. I heard somewhere in the late 30s it got hairy.
Yeah.
But they got them all out on time.
Amazing. It's an accomplishment. I mean, honestly, I'm
purely from a publishing standpoint, even if it wasn't very good, which it was fantastic. But it could have been horrible. But at least if they'd gotten it out on time, it would have been an accomplishment.
Well, yeah, it wasn't very good, but it was out all the way. They said it would come out, and it was. Like
almost
stick
get this-
figures.
I also get the sense that the creators didn't know what they were getting into. Like they were like oh, sure, we'll do it, but and then it got to be a much bigger thing, and then because of it, all of Morrison's books ended up way late.
There were
What happened to Queen and Country?
There were effects. There were kind of but it's
Except Jeff Johns.
who
He just kept cranking them out.
He's like got 2 laptops going. So let's give an overview of the story. What happened is at the end of Infinite Crisis, there was.
This will be good. Go.
Well, I'm going to give a skeleton overview. Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman were the 3 main pieces of Infinite Crisis. And Superman lost his powers.
Yeah.
Batman realized he'd pretty much gone over the bend in terms of just anger. And
paranoia.
Wonder Woman had murdered Maxwell Lord. And so Superman, he was gone. He had no powers. Batman decided to take Dick Grayson and Tim Drake to go sort of reconnect because they were all estranged at this point. And
You were so about to giggle, weren't you?
I was gonna say they went to Sandals. They just laid on the beach in the Bahamas for a couple of weeks.
With a little umbrella.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're rich.
they had the big straw hats.
No, they got on some steamer ship. It looked like they were
went on a
stowing
steamer
away.
ship and
Yeah.
they went to Nanda
with the
Parbat
wool hats
and
and
then Wonder Woman went to find herself again because she'd also gone too far in murdering Maxwell Lord. So now you've got a DC universe.
Where did she go? Did she go to Themyscira?
They didn't really say where she went. She just
Oddly
went.
enough, she got detoured by Grey's Anatomy, and she's been hanging out in Seattle for a while. We were hoping to hear from her.
Yeah, so that they're gone. Now you're left with the DC universe that's without its 3 main components. And originally, DC said that 52 was going to fill the gap between Infinite Crisis and the 1 year later books, which was after the miniseries ended, they rebooted every book a year ahead of time. And originally they said this will fill your gaps. What ended up happening was they focused on the third tier characters, and I guess the writers fell so in love with these characters that they consumed the books.
Yep.
And we never really.
There was a
had those
couple
holes
of dalliances with the rest of the DC universe.
Right.
We saw Green Arrow a couple of times. We saw
Right.
Firestorm. We saw some other
Hal Jordan
characters.
showed up once in a while.
Yeah, here and there. But they picked a bunch of characters to follow through this year and just stuck on them like
The
flies.
1 year later books didn't really need to fill anything in. I mean, as they went on, like.
Well, in
they
the Batman
told
books, you
what
had
happened.
you had Two-Face basically filling in the role, and you had all of a sudden you had a new Teen Titans, and Green Arrow was the mayor of Star City. So there were things
It was
like
jarring.
they were originally going to touch on those things much more than they actually ended up doing.
But by the time
Instead-
they got to the end of this, it had already been told, so it would have been like telling it again.
right. Well, some people I was curious about how they never really said how Commissioner Gordon came back. I'm kind of annoyed.
Still can. They still can. That's a story they
That's
still have
true.
left to tell. I mean, but you can also say, well, we'll get to that.
Right. So
Sorry.
so what they ended up following anyway was characters like Booster Gold and Steel and
Renee Montoya.
Renee Montoya and Ralph Dibny and Dr. Fate and characters like that.
No.
You guys are not really that steeped in DC lore. How did you guys come into this series? I
Yeah.
know there was a skepticism.
I asked you a lot of questions.
I didn't ask that many questions.
On the podcast.
I loved it because while we were doing the show.
Connor, wait. Who is the man in the hat?
No, I really loved it because I love the C level characters. I like the background characters, and I love seeing Booster Gold, and I love seeing Ralph Dibny and stuff like that kind of take the forefront, and kind of enough with the big three and the big characters that you see about.
I knew who most of them were, for the most
They
part.
weren't really obscure.
I was
They were just
familiar
low-level
with
characters.
Renee Montoya because I read everything Rucka ever wrote, in the Gotham world, and I knew who Booster Gold was, and I knew, but part of the
Dibny
fun,
knew his whole
Ralph
story.
Dibny, because I'd read
Crisis.
Identity Crisis, and but part of the fun for me in comics is they take these characters and they build something out of them that wasn't there before, and so. Into the story, all of a sudden, like, oh, I know these characters now. It's just like anything new you start, and so I was totally into that. I had fun. I don't think you needed to know a whole lot. I bet if you knew a lot about the DC universe, you probably got more out of it.
Yeah. And the weekly format of it made it completely like it was like a TV show. I mean, like every week I was looking forward to it. I mean, like it. I mean, we've gone through this before on our audio show a lot, but I tend to read the books I'm most excited for first. And 52 was always in the top 4. I mean, like every week it came out, I'm like, I want to see what's next. What's the next chapter?
Another interesting thing about the weekly format is there's a different storytelling style at play. Normally, comics these days are written in 6-issue arcs, so things have to happen rather rapidly. You get the first 2 issues, first act, and second, and then you expect things to happen. 52 really threw the whole game off for some readers because it happened much slower. It was more novelistic.
Yeah, we'd see like maybe an issue or 2 about a character, then we wouldn't see them for like 8 issues.
Yeah.
And
The pacing was completely different than normal comics, so it took a while to really get into it. I know the three of us really.
16, 17 issues.
It took us a couple of months until we really got the hang of it.
And I think that's actually one of the things that I did wrong. Is that I went into this and I was comparing them to regular monthly comics, and I was like, let's get on with it. And like at a certain point, probably I bet they lost a lot of people in the late teens, early 20s because we were expecting this to move along like comics normally do. Yeah. And what it is now, in retrospect, is it's a novel, and and that's what it is. It's a big ass comic book novel. And when you read them all at once like that, it has a character arcs in the beginning that start something, and then the action builds and something else happens, and then there's a third act. And that's what it was, but we weren't.
I think we even did it mathematically, where the story picked up was in the first act came and went, and we were like, all right, this is really slow. And then I remember the second act kicked in, and we were just like, oh my god, things are happening.
Shit's happening.
And then from that point on,
it was like a train.
Every week it was like it was good. There was something happened every week that was worth talking about and worth thinking about. Which when you've got something divided into 52 pieces, is no small thing.
Right.
To keep it exciting like that.
And something else the length allows is. You had really rich character arcs. Renee Montoya, from the beginning to the end, completely changed, and it's completely natural through the whole thing.
It made sense.
She was a hard drinking.
Whoring.
She was whoring, actually. She was in fact whoring at the beginning. Her life was empty, and now, like then in the middle,
she wasn't working the streets.
She was going to bars and picking up floozies,
She wasn't
She was. If she was a dude, she would have been horrid.
True. Right.
Let's keep the standards good.
Yeah.
Dibny had a fantastic character arc.
One of the creepiest moments in comics in years
Yeah.
with
The Cult of Connor.
Yeah, part of the, and as we're getting into the story a little
a
bit.
lot of story to
Yeah,
talk
there's a lot of story to talk about. Part of Ralph Dibny's arc was still dealing with the death of his wife from the Identity Crisis miniseries type fun, and through Superboy died in Infinite Crisis, and as part of 52 was this Cult of Connor. Not you, Superboy.
Sadly.
You could start that.
Eventually.
Yeah,
It'll
eventually, yeah, it will happen.
Go to
But,
iFanboy.com.
and it's people who were, made a religion out of Superboy, including Wonder Girl,
Yeah.
Cassie,
She was
whatever.
her boyfriend.
Yeah, and they were trying to resurrect him, and in an attempt to resurrect him to like kind of practice, they decided to resurrect Sue Dibny.
That's pretty, and that was wrenching. That was a wrenching issue.
And-
You could feel the pain in him.
Ralph kind of investigated this, and he infiltrated it, and he was kind of pretending to be on board. But when the actual ceremony happened, he flipped the
snapped.
switch because the freaking mannequin that was supposed to be started freaking talking. They never explained that. Did it work?
Like a straw effigy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she just started talking, and it was freaky. It was really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
freaked
think,
me out.
I think it came up later at the end that there was a spell or something, but it was
Yeah.
still. I remember we all read that issue. We were like, "Damn, that was
Yeah.
screwed up."
That was rough.
Something that was really controversial for about 5 minutes was Batwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early on in the series, they announced they were adding a character called Batwoman. She was going to be a lesbian. That was all over the news and all over the.
The solicit, it was
High
like
heel boots and a
lipstick and
Yeah.
yeah.
She was a lipstick lesbian Batman girl.
Yeah.
And she was
Batwoman.
barely in it.
She
Pretty
had
much.
no impact really to the story at all.
Whatsoever.
What's funny is that if she was just another character that Renee had sort of fallen in love with or something, it would have been
Well,
exactly
you put the
the
Bat
same.
logo on anybody controversial, and it's going to be big news.
Right.
How did you feel about it?
I thought it was great that they have a lesbian character named Batwoman, but I thought the hype was not at all worth the payoff. She was
Right.
in like 4 or 5 of the
And
issues, and she didn't do anything.
she was actually like a B plot line within Renee's story.
So she was like a D plot line of the old world thing.
Exactly.
I remember she showed up a couple of issues in a row, and then she was gone for like 3 months.
Right. And what's funny is that it completely overshadowed what they were doing with 52. It was like Batwoman, and it wasn't like in this weekly comic book. Like
I thought I got the idea
they
that-
buried the lead.
I thought after all that they were going to do like a Batwoman book.
Yeah, no, not so
I don't know.
much.
There's not even anything there for it right now.
There's no juice in her character at all. So.
Yeah. Let's the storyline that which we all didn't like the most and then changed. Let's discuss the Steel storyline.
Yeah.
And the girl whose name I don't remember.
Steele and his niece and Lex Luthor had a storyline that in the beginning we hated. We thought it dragged the book down every time it came on. We hated that book.
You don't understand. I want to be a superhero too. Slams.
You need to discipline yourself. You don't understand.
Yeah.
It was like it was
a lot of that for about a
bad.
month.
Yeah, it was bad.
But the whole idea that Lex Luthor was building his own superhero team because Superman wasn't around, and he finally could fill that void. It took a nasty turn around New Year's when he
It was
basically
that long ago, huh?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
he injected all these people with this serum that gave them
Everyman.
superpowers, the
Everyman
Everyman
project.
project, and I guess to show off his control, he turned it off.
Yeah, he.
I thought he was trying to draw out Superman or something like that.
Possibly.
I didn't really read the book.
There's a lot of issues.
It's hard to remember. It was something.
Regardless, he
Yeah.
turned off
The
there was
reign of the
there was
Superman.
This great panel of all of these people just falling out of the sky, and that's when something got really interesting.
Yeah, it was good.
So even we were fooled by the.
And it led up to a great fight between Steel and
Lex
and
Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Here's the thing, though. I'm going to give this away. Steele and his niece are now getting along again.
Yeah.
Apparently,
I didn't see that.
She
apparently
learned-
she's come to respect him.
She built her own armor. It's come around. It was a nice little
Wow, I
heartwarming
didn't see
story.
any of that come. I mean,
Yeah.
it's overall it's kind of cheesy,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say it ruined anything.
Yeah, no, it didn't. I mean, the thing is that not every storyline is going to hit a home run, unfortunately, and not every storyline hit a home run in every moment.
No.
I mean, as great as the Renee Montoya stuff, it lagged at some points. The Batwoman stuff kind of brought it down. As great as the Ralph Dibny stuff was, we didn't see him.
Understand the ending.
Yeah, well, yeah, we either didn't
I
understand.
didn't understand the ending at all.
Or no,
Floated
but
away.
yeah, I mean, it was so like there's ups and downs for all the storylines.
Something else that 52 had. 2006 was the year of the hidden superhero. Who was the man behind the mask?
Yeah, a lot of mystery. Yeah.
Supernova was 52's superhero.
Which again was a B plot line to Booster Gold's, which ended up being like a D plot line.
Yeah.
So
Supernova.
Well, it was part of his whole part of the whole thing, though. Like,
Yeah.
Because he had gone.
really, the
headed
Booster
time.
Gold storyline is honestly the most important storyline of the whole series.
He ends up being the most important character through this whole series.
Right.
which flies in the face of the theory in the beginning that they were hating all the Giffen era Justice League characters.
Right. And they killed him at one point early on.
He died early on.
They killed him, which blew me away. I'm like, they killed Booster Gold.
Not only but he was a dick in the first chunk of it before he died. Like
the sponsorships and everything.
No,
like
but they were like pushing it
Yeah.
so that he was horrible. Remember, like he was screw them, and he was faking heroic events. And
I loved
stuff
it.
like
It
that.
was hysterical.
Although that really is in line with his characterization. He was like that in Justice League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was always looking for glory and looking for he should be the the front line kind of thing. He saw Superman, he'll fill the void of Superman, and he'll manipulate his way into doing it.
So yeah, that was another thing that I think for a while we were interested in, and then when it happened, it was kind of another one of those, Supernova's Booster Gold, okay.
Yeah, it was a bit of.
I didn't mind it. I mean, it wasn't like
No,
Hawkeye.
I didn't mind it. It was just kind of like.
I looked
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Well, the thing that really annoyed me was they revealed it on the cover.
Well, that was a problem that Dan Didio revealed a lot, apparently.
Let's talk about the covers then, because a key component to this whole series was J.G. Jones, who did every single cover.
Which, if you ask me, was one of the highlights of the entire series. I mean, I'd never actually heard of J.G. Jones before this.
Really?
Yeah, I never heard.
Oh,
Well, I might have seen him, but I didn't
He drew
know
the
him.
Marvel Boy series that Grant Morrison did a long time ago, which
Oh,
was
well, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that was alright. I didn't like it as much, but
Awesome.
that's getting off topic. But each cover was. I love the cover treatment.
He did different styles.
It was amazing. It was just amazing what he did with it.
For preparing for the show, I went through all the covers, and you just forget there's some really great artistic designs. There's the red and blue Lex Luthor. There's the question one that was like the stencil on the side of the wall.
Oh, the best one was the answer the question one.
Yeah, that's the one.
The stencil one. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's then the first and the first last covers were referencing each other, and it was he painted some, he drew some. It was just he did a different piece of work.
And the covers really did a good job of summing up that week.
Oh yeah, this is perfect for you because they totally reflected what was in the book.
It was fantastic. It was
Even if they gave away what was in the book.
Yeah, well.
You could almost follow the storyline just going through the covers.
Yeah, or at least the main kind of plot point, And I loved how they made it kind of like almost like a magazine with little teasers with the copy and stuff like that. Like it all worked. The package worked together. The production on this was just fantastic.
This was a very audacious project, and they
pulled
it off.
We're talking very positively about it, but there was one glaring problem I had with it that I felt as if the one factor of the comic book that suffered due to the weekly schedule was the actual art, the interior art, not the cover art, but the interior art. They had a rotating cast of characters doing the art, doing the pencils.
Some big names like Derek Robertson did the art.
Derek Robertson, Phil Jimenez, but then
you noticed those issues too.
Todd Nowak.
Yeah, Todd Nowak. Chris Batista. I like some of his work. I don't want to talk about the people who I didn't really like, but I felt as if at some points.
You just did.
The art, well, no, Chris Batista, I liked some of his stuff, but I felt as if some points the art really suffered, and you saw, the idea of having Keith Giffen do the layouts was great, because Keith Giffen knows how to tell a story and knows how to, kind of paste stuff, and that would help the artists, so they would have to decide on what the layouts were, but some of the pencils were just bad, like they were just out and out bad, like we're talking Marvel Comics Presents bad, like back when they were just churning shit out,
See, I mean, I think that, no, this artwork wasn't up to the premiere sort of.
Yeah.
But overall,
I think it was all right.
I didn't really have a problem with it. I think the Giffen layouts.
Took me out. Yeah.
The Giffen layouts led it pacing and consistency, so the pages all generally had the same feel. Absolutely. When I remember reading the Derek Robertson one, and I was like, "What? Why is this so?" And I go back, I was like, "Oh, Derek Robertson's drawing. It's really good." And then same with Phil Jimenez. But overall, I think there was only a couple of really
bad ones. I think for the most, at the very least, it was mostly serviceable.
It took me out. Took me right out. Just yoink. That's just me. That's just me. I would have. I mean, I've ranted about this before. I would have gotten 4 or 5 artists that would have dedicated to it and just rotated and gone through. Well, no, but there was no consistency with that. Like there was no. I think part of it you would need a dedicated consistency. Same with Keith Giffen, same with J.G. Jones. And I feel as if they kind of let the art suffer because the writing was more important in this. But
it was.
I disagree. It's a visual storytelling. I mean, art's as important as the story.
I think it's for
2-3, we win. 2-1. Wait, 2 out of 3. Damn it. I guess I lost.
I win. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, personally, it was art's serviceable.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna have a different opinion on the art. But I think overall, this is one of the most successful things DC's done forever. Financially, it was a windfall.
They did something like.
Well, you figured the math out.
Well, they did something like 100,000 an issue, which
a little more for each issue.
Which for a comic book these days is pretty good. But you're talking 4 times a month that's happening. So basically, that's like if you look at it from the point of view of a regular monthly book, that's 400,000 a month.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the
amazing.
biggest. That's the biggest selling comic book in comics.
Yeah.
At that point.
I mean, I think if you add them all up, probably it is.
The three of us alone spent over
$450
on comics in 1 year.
on one title.
Oh my god.
Because they had it at $250 to save us that 50 cents.
Yeah,
which they decided to issue with Countdown.
You just sticks in your craw, doesn't it?
It really bugs me. They got away with it. They made a lot of money.
Yeah, no, they went a little more. They
$2 extra a month.
What is the blood from the stones?
$2 extra a month equals $100 a year.
Jesus.
That's 50 cents.
Wow.
However many readers, that's 100,000 people reading
That's
it.
crazy.
$100 times 100,000, that's $10 million. No.
And
I don't know math.
We didn't even mention the fact at the very end there was the
a whole other event.
a whole other like it sort of Black Adam was a character throughout the whole series, but right towards the end he emerged as this major villain in that he had a wife and she got killed and things
ISIS.
happened, and then World War III happened, which was Black Adam going crazy and just deciding to massacre everyone on the
killed
planet.
millions and millions of
people, and all the superhero community had to band together to stop him. It happened in issue 50, but it also happened in a 4-issue miniseries called World War III, which all came out on the same day.
Yep.
So
$10.
maximize.
Yeah. So just add that to the tally.
With this, World War III actually ended up being the thing that filled in most of the gaps for World. That's where most of the jumps to 1 year later happened in that series, plus the whole war.
Yeah.
But that was another thing that I thought was great about it.
And I don't know the story. I haven't heard the official line, but I'm guessing this wasn't planned when they started it. It felt like that, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, a lot of people kind of bitch and moaned about there being 4 issues in 1 week and all this kind of stuff, and not really.
Just make it one book.
Yeah, I don't know. Because you can't really buy one without getting I'm going to get issue 2 and 4, and that's it. You know, I'm only doing issue 4 of World War III. No, but I really liked it because it zoomed in on events in week 50 of 52. So
I gotta say that Black Adam storyline was one that surprised me the most. In the beginning, I literally remember asking who's Black Adam? I didn't know, and over time he had a real character arc. It was very rich and he lost everything and then had everything and then the dude got eaten. Which was one of the big moments and I mean they'd laid out clues all over the place for that and I was blissfully unaware of them. So I was like, oh, he's been hungry the whole time, so he's going to eat him.
And that's a good point. That I'm always talking about. I like it when stuff happens, and people lived and died in this book. I mean, characters were introduced and killed, and I mean, it was really kind of cool to see. But
that first week that we went to the comic store and there was no 52. That was a sad week.
There was Countdown.
That was Countdown.
Right, but it was still. We've been with this book for a year, and it's been these 4 writers and these characters, and then you go up to the shelf and they're just like.
There was one thing that I'm going to miss that was at the end of every issue to kind of, I don't know what the motivation for it was, but they decided to do a 2-page kind of history of DC Universe characters where every week there was a different character focused, and in 2 pages Mark Waid wrote and a different artist drew, summed up their entire history, origin stories, which was fantastic.
Then brought them up to the present, not just the origin, but beginning to end.
They actually started. Oh my God, I just remembered. Remember they started with the history of the DCU in the back with Dan Jurgens and I forget who did the art of that.
Dan Jurgens.
It was Dan Jurgens. Wrote and drew, and that was awful.
Yeah.
And
apparently you did want to say who did something awful.
Yeah, Dan Jurgens was bad, and then they wrapped that up. And then they started doing these little 2-page origins, which were the highlight of the read.
I don't know why they didn't do that from the beginning, especially since I think this book brought in a lot of people who weren't familiar with the DC universe, and this was a great primer for characters.
I found the Dan Jurgens thing somewhat useful because I didn't read. I didn't read Infinite Crisis or whatever.
Yeah, multiple crises.
I've read Crisis before, but God forbid if I can tell you what happened.
Yeah.
No, but the Mark Waid thing.
The Mark Waid thing was amazing. Great. I mean, that's the accomplishment within the accomplishment is the Mark Waid thing.
Yeah.
2 pages telling the origin of the.
He's an old hand at that. He used to write those Who's entries.
Yeah,
he'd write
genius.
Those,
fantastic. So.
But I think overall, talk about a successful event.
I loved it.
Very, very rarely happens. This financially, story-wise, for the readers, for the companies, everybody.
It delivered.
Can I also just mention my favorite panel? You remember what my favorite panel is? The eBay auction.
Oh, the eBay. The crazy
auction
scientist.
is approaching its culmination.
The crazy scientists.
We didn't mention the crazy
There's
scientists.
so many. 52 issues of so many stories and characters that we could talk 3 hours about this stuff, but there was so many great things about 52.
Let's go. Let's just do it. This is
all right. So in week 21, it was with Infinity Inc. and it was I can't. Oh, and the Adam Strange.
Starfire.
Animal Man. Oh,
we all read the entire Animal Man.
So much good.
We all read the entire Animal Man series during this.
Yeah,
Grant Morrison's old, and he.
Well, the funny thing was, for me at least, Animal Man dies, comes back in 52.
Yeah.
When he first died, we were like, well, that was stupid.
Yeah.
And then they brought him right back. And we were like, that's dumb.
There was a lot of...
But then we read the Grant Morrison thing. Oh, that makes sense.
Right,
Like,
it made perfect sense.
Yeah.
It tied in. Grant Morrison was able to tie in his old work with his new work, and Rucka tied in with the Batman stuff. I mean, everybody was perfect for these stories. And the only negative thing was it affected... We didn't get any other work from Greg Rucka really for a year. Grant Morrison's work all fell to the wayside.
I'm still waiting for Wildcats too.
Yeah, Mark Wade's didn't really do anything else. I mean, Jeff Johnson's
I'm not actually waiting.
Jeff Johnson's
I
the
gave
18 laptops, so he was able to.
They lost their editor in the middle of it. Steve Wacker defected to Marvel.
Defected is...
It's
another opportunity.
You know what? In the modern sense, that's defected.
Yeah, fair
I
enough,
think.
yeah.
And then Michael Sigling came along, and apparently he did a very good job too.
It's the new Steve Wacker.
This was a blessed project. It just like
it's really interesting, and it was really a lot of fun to be a part of, and I'm glad I did it. I mean, I wasn't a big DC guy. And,
I'm glad. I'm glad you guys did it because it wouldn't have been as much fun without.
No, it totally was fun, and who'd have thought it came out so good?
Yeah. So
hopefully we'll be here in a year talking about how well Countdown went.
Hopefully, and if you didn't read 52, they got to be reprinting this into a book.
The trade, two trades are coming out.
Pick up the trade, or if they don't absolute this, I would be surprised if they don't absolute it. I mean, it would be fucking thick, but it would be
several volumes.
Yeah, but still, it'd be cool to have big and all that kind of stuff. Just the cover. They're probably gonna do a cover book.
They need to.
That'd be a genius. So that'd be good.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I want to mention our sponsors who help bring the show. You can go to GoDaddy.com if you have any domain name purchasing needs or website needs or anything like that. Go to GoDaddy.com, use coupon code iFanboy, and get 10% off your purchase. So.
You could also go to www.netflix.com/ifanboy. You sign up for an account there, you can get 2 free weeks. Then they deliver the movies to your house. We know that you can friend us.
Yeah,
we're on
be
there.
Your friend on Netflix.
No late fees. That's the big thing. All that stuff.
So www.netflix.com/ifanboy.
Is it bad if that movie stay for like a month at my house?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a waste of money. You paid whatever you pay.
Or not, there are no late fees, so you're saving money.
Late fees. I'm saving money.
You could have bought them by now.
I don't want to own Rocky Balboa.
It was really good though. I love that movie.
This is why we go long.
All right, so if you have any questions about 52, if you didn't understand anything, or any questions in general, head over, send us an email at contact@ifanboy.com.
Or you could go to the forums or ifanboy.com and ask in the discussion there. I'm sure there'll be lots of answers and things like that.
Or you can call us and rant about it at what's up?
1-888-FANBOYs. 1-888-2697.
326-2697.
Just call us.
It's either ingrained in my brain or my brain has erased it. It's one of the others. Neither or.
I just want to say 52, 52, 52, 52.
So that's
there's a multiverse. We didn't mention that.
Yeah, the 52 were the planets.
That was the point
52 planets.
of the whole story that apparently didn't make much of an impact on us.
Too many mysteries. It was good though. Lovely. Okay, short intro in 3, 2.
Wait, we need to do a cold open.
Short intro. Cold open. I'm sorry. Cold open. Cold open in 3.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know.
No. We're doing a cold open?